Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Inside Lowell podcast. I am your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the WellPoint Studios here in beautiful, historic downtown Lowell. WellPoint is the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. And we thank our friends at WellPoint for helping to make this podcast and all of our Inside Lowell podcasts possible, along with the rest of our podcast sponsors, which include the Washington Savings Bank. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Boston North Company, business solutions for restaurant and retail. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell for nearly a century. Francis C. Prevention Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on for over 41 years. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Cannot wait for season number 2 of the Pirates. And I'm very excited to welcome my special guest into the WellPoint Studios for this podcast. She is a lieutenant with the Lowell Police Department, still kind of on the honeymoon phase, right? We're less than a year of your lieutenantship. We passed it. Has it been a year
July.
already? Oh, man, I remember being there at that ceremony, and it was really kind of a big deal. Lieutenant Dawn Beauchesne is joining us here in the WellPoint Studios. Good morning, Lieutenant. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So a year in now as a lieutenant, can you believe it?
No, I can't. It's exciting. It's exciting. I love my position. I like doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. How long have you been with LPD
I've
in
been
all?
with LPD since 1999, so almost just over 25
Wow.
years.
Okay.
And I've been in law enforcement for over 29 years.
Jesus, you're I would never guess that. But obviously it agrees with you, right?
I think so.
So you took on the new duties a year ago as lieutenant, but you're actually taking on even more duties going forward. Just a few weeks ago, a press release came out, which we also reported here at Inside Lowell, that kind of introduced you as the new LGBTQ liaison for the Lowell Police Department. Talk to me a little bit about that new position, your new responsibilities, and how you got there.
How I got there. Okay, let me start with this. I took that role on as an added role. It wasn't just my exclusive role. I work in the neighborhood response unit, and this was something for me to take on additionally to those roles. When I was asked, I said yes, but I would like some training. So I decided I went to the LGBTQ Law Enforcement Awareness Academy, which was all able to do online. Through that, I took some additional classes, which were the hate crimes and being able to assist people with the LGBTQ community and make that liaison possible. So that's some of the training that I took on there.
So there is actually a lot of work that has gone into this, right? They didn't just say, all right, we're going to create this new position and boom, we're going to appoint Lieutenant Beauchesne to
No,
it.
there was absolutely a lot more work than I thought.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
What are some of the issues that are unique to this position? Why did Lowell Police kind of feel the need to create this position?
I feel like the city might have had some deficiencies in that role, in that community. So we said, let's get this and let's get this out there. Let's give them a voice, give that community a voice. So I wanted to make a primary contact point for them to be able to talk to us. They have somebody in their corner that they can reach out to. They may not feel comfortable going to the police because of everything that's happened in the past. We have a bad history, right? The police with LGBTQ community, meaning the raids and whatnot. So we talk about that in the academy and why things are different now and why we have to change what we did. We have to learn from our history.
Can you talk a little bit about that history? Because I'll tell you, until really, the summer of 2020, when everything kind of started to get public, I did not know about a lot of that history with the city, I should say with policing in the country. And it was kind of New York City. Was it New York City where this famous kind of these riots happened, and there were all sorts of accusations of horrible police behavior. So if you would talk a little bit about that history so those who were ignorant like I was and probably still am to a large degree, they can understand what it is we're talking about here.
Well, a lot of that came about because people were afraid. If you really think about it, it was afraid of the unknown. They didn't know exactly what was going on, and they labeled everybody, lumped them together, that there was a drug issue and things like that. I don't want to get into everything about it because that's how I kind of come together with the community and talk about it. And I ask them to be part of my community as far as an ally and say, can we have this situation and sit down so we can educate, right? Mm-hmm. This is why you become a liaison. Educate the community in these issues and things like that. But what was going on is they asked people, the police department, like the higher ups said, we want you to go in and take care of this issue. We think that there's illegal activity going on, which to them saying that their illegal activity was just being a homosexual. And that wasn't right. Okay? You love who you love. So there was a standoff, ended up, there was some violence that took place, obviously, and then they eventually resolved that. But still, there's always going to be that animosity between that our community and the police. And for somebody who works in the police department, I see both sides of it, and it's conflicting for myself as well. But as far as I'm concerned now, we have to learn from history, and we have to go forward. And how do we do that, right? So I think it's very important that we're all inclusive.
I found it interesting because you said the reason you felt this was important was because you felt that the city and maybe the police department had some, quote, deficiencies, you called it. What do you mean? Are there major issues out there that maybe I'm not aware of, the public's not aware of out there? Or what do you mean when you say deficiencies?
We've never had anybody in this position before, right? And I would say Lowell as a whole, I can't say that we have more hate crimes than anybody else. That's not what I'm talking about. We just need somebody for this minority community, right? It's not a majority community, to come forward and be able to say, look, you can reach out to me, right? We have all these different liaisons for many different communities, and we haven't thought about this one. And my big issue with this is not just because I'm from this community, but I know what it was like to be a child or a young adult questioning, and I want to make sure there's somebody for these young adults that are coming forward and coming into this and questioning where they want to go or what they want to do and not be afraid. We don't want to see suicides and bullying because of this.
So how much of the work that you've already been doing, by the way, I just kind of looked over at my screen quickly. We put the story out there on September 9th, which was when this press release was sent out. So it's only, we're recording this on September 24th. We're less than 2 weeks into this. But first of all, have you had people in just these 2 short weeks, have people already reached out to you just to kind of talk about some of the issues?
Yes, I have had a couple people reach out. I just was at a neighborhood meeting last night, and I got a lot of accolades for doing what I'm doing. And I can't take all the credit. Like I said, my chief came to me and said, would you be interested in doing this position? And he wasn't forced. He said, hey, how do you feel about this? And I said, you know what? I would love to do it. I'd love to be a representative. I'd love to help people, right? That's why we get into police work, to help people. But I want some further education because I want to be able to explain why. Like, why do we use the rainbow flag, right? Because of all the different colors. It encompasses everybody, right? So things like that. Inclusiveness. I really feel like we need to be included. Everybody needs to be included. And sometimes the police were excluded from Pride events. We got to walk in the Pride parade this year. We were included. We had a table. Things are changing, and that's what I want to see, change for the better.
How much of the work that you're going to be doing or perhaps have already done centers around schools? And, what better place to educate people, right, than schools?
When I first took on the role, before this came out as a named individual, one of the first places I went were the schools. I made contacts in the schools, and then I also went to where the children go, would be like the boys club, girls club, things like that. Venues where children go after school, before school. I tried to make those contacts. At this point, because this isn't my sole responsibility, I'm asking somebody in the schools to assist me with that. And I want to keep this program going. I want to make it larger and keep going with the schools. I'm running right now a safe place initiative, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but basically on the flip side of that is the schools can do an anti-bullying program and have a safe place for the children can go if they feel like they're being bullied or harassed or whatnot.
Yeah, because many of these individual issues, depending on what the community is, kind of they go back to the bullying, the overall topic of bullying, and we see what a tragic effect that has, on just kids' mental well-being, but also loss of life and the effects on families and whatnot.
Yeah, it's awful, and especially with the social media because people can get behind their computers and they could be anonymous, whether they even know who they are. So they can say anything at any time. And I don't know too many kids who aren't on social media platforms.
All right.
So.
We're chatting with Beauchesne, Lieutenant Dawn Beauchesne. She is also the Lowell Police LGBTQ plus community liaison, talking about the new her new role. And you mentioned a couple of things that we want to talk about. One of them you already brought up, the Safe Place Initiative. It's not a coincidence that the position was kind of formalized and the press release went out on September 9th, because there's a couple of different things that you're launching. The first one that I do want to talk about, though, is October 11th. Is an important day, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, if you would, please.
October 11th is National Coming Out Day. It's very important for the LGBTQ. It's when they may feel most comfortable to speak to their loved ones about who they are, who they really are, without feeling like they have to stay in the closet anymore. And why do we stay in the closet? Because we want acceptance. Not everybody does, right? Some people stay closeted for their whole lives, and some people come out right away. They're able to live their whole life out. I think that's a fabulous thing, but that's a huge thing that has to come from acceptance and accepting who you are. You have to be a strong person sometimes to do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine as time goes on, it looks like we've made significant progress. Yet I remember back, 30, 40 years ago when I was young and in school, and oh my Lord, we were terrible. I throw myself in there as well. And if you think back, it's maybe been 15 years since Massachusetts and then eventually the rest of the country even accepted the thought of gay marriage, right? So while it seems like a long time ago that we had such major issues, and we talked about the situations in New York, only within the last couple of decades have we really started to make significant progress there, right?
Yeah. Yep. No, absolutely. And that's huge, because if I think everybody realized like their loved one and your marriage to that loved one may be questioned, that's a huge step for us, right? Yeah, you have to take advantage of that. So, and a lot of people just take that for granted.
So October 11th, big day, National Coming Out Day, and it's also why you felt the need to kind of get the message out there about the Safe Place Initiative. Let's talk about that, because there actually aren't that many of those throughout the world, right? Lowell is only one of a couple of hundred that now will have a Safe Place Initiative.
We just got certified. It's 355th law enforcement agency to get involved with that program, and that's throughout the United States, Canada, and throughout the world. And you think about that, we have like 360 cities and towns just in Massachusetts, and we're 355th throughout the world.
Are there any others in Massachusetts? By
Brookline.
The way? Brookline, okay.
And there is 2 others. Forgive me, I don't know.
Okay.
I did ask. I was speaking to the Academy director, Greg, and I said, "Can you break that down throughout the states?" And he said, "We don't have that throughout, because the Academy probably only had about 4 graduation classes, so it still is relatively new, but it's an important thing, and I think we need it."
Yeah, because when we say around the world, we're talking around the world, Australia,
Europe,
and
everything.
the rest of North America and Europe. So it is kind of a big deal. So what is a Safe Place Initiative? What is that going to entail, and how is that going to help you with the work that you're embarking on?
What I'm asking, so first I have to let you know that the Safe Place Initiative was brought on and initiated through Seattle Police Department. They're the ones that brought this program forward, and they're the ones that are promoting it throughout. So I took a program with them again, and when I completed it, it will allow us the opportunity to go out to local businesses where they have people, the public, can access their business. So what I asked the business to do is 2 things: is allow that person to come in to their location of business and give them a safe place to report a hate crime. And when I say hate crime, I say any crime really, because aren't they all hate crimes, right? But obviously, because of the education that I went through, it's geared toward the LGBTQ community. But we want to know that they can come in, feel safe, and report this crime or something that happened to them at that location. There's no liability placed on the business because it's allowing them to come in and have a safe place. If for some reason I came in, I wanted to report the crime, I tell you, you call the police for me, and then I turn around and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore for fear or just I don't have time, and I leave. You're not obligated as the business owner to chase after that person. All I'd ask you to do is call back the police department, possibly on the non-emergency number at this time, and say, hey, they just left. Their name was Dawn Beauchesne. She was wearing a blue shirt, blue pants, black boots, and she took off down Merrimack Street headed toward the high school. And that's it. I don't ask you to chase after them. All I ask is that you give them the safe place to report it and train your staff about that these people that are reporting crimes, we're just going to afford them a safe place to come in and sit while they, report the crime to the police. We don't want them to be harassed further.
Yeah, and we've seen other cases in the past of where these types of initiatives, work with, child abuse, with domestic violence, right? There's certain schools certainly bear a certain responsibility, doctors' offices, medical professionals, hair salons, right? So this is, you kind of modeling that along the same lines?
Same type of place, yeah. And a lot of times you even see businesses already with like a rainbow flag. And a lot of times that rainbow flag is inclusive for everybody, right? A lot of people who belong to a minority group see that as someplace where it's accepting. I can go there and I can get help. So this is a little different. The sticker, the decal that goes on the window looks like a badge. And then there's a report hate crimes in all the colors of the rainbow.
I'm going to ask you to hold that up just a little bit higher to the camera there. There you go. So you're going to ask businesses to participate by putting
these on the windows.
Okay.
Right. And then for obvious reasons, if people still want to contact me and not speak to me in person, or maybe something's happened, it takes sometimes a lot of times for people to come forward and report a crime. They can reach me at I have LPD, LGBTQ at lowellma.gov. That is strictly for the LGBTQ officer, as well as I have a detective that is assigned to that. So if there's a crime going on and you wanted to report it, not really anonymous because your name's going to be attached to it, but maybe you feel safer going through email. Maybe you don't want to come out of your house for some reason, things like that.
Give that email again one more time, if you would, please.
Sure. It's LPD, LGBTQ at lowellma.gov.
And also this information is out there on the Lowell Police website. That's where I found a lot of the stuff that I was looking for. Final question here. You talk about education, talk about resources. Are you a one-man band there, or a one-woman band, I should say? Or how is the rest of the police department kind of being educated in some of these safe place initiatives and also the community liaison work that you're doing?
Okay, I have a lot of stuff to answer to that, but I have Malika, who helps me with that, who's our community liaison. She helps me a lot. You wouldn't believe the behind the scenes. I need this.
She wouldn't help you today, though. She moved the other chair that we had right next to you there out of the studio because she left you out here to hang by yourself, right?
A lot. She had a lot to do with our Pride event and helping get that all scored up. But with this, right now, I'm going to reach out to our community to get these Safe Place Initiative stickers out there for our businesses. What I plan, or my 1 year plan out, that I've conversed with the higher ups, I said, how about we do a program? I want to educate my law enforcement colleagues and give them some of this information that I have, so they too know what's going on and why some things are a little different for this community versus other communities. Almost like a cultural competency for the LGBTQ community, and let our law enforcement officers know what's going on and maybe why some things are different. So I hope to educate them and pass on some of my knowledge. And then eventually, like I said, I really feel like the children can benefit from this program. So I want to get this into the school resource officers' hands, and they'll run with it. It wouldn't be my doing. It would be something they take on.
Do you ultimately see yourself kind of helping to kind of spread this word and educate throughout the greater Lowell area, and not just within Lowell, but, you know, getting in some of our other communities, Chelmsford, Drake-it, and our coverage area, Tewksbury, et cetera? Do you kind of see yourself and Lowell Police taking a role in that?
I wouldn't be put off by that, but we got to start here. So we're going to start at this one
I'm just trying to give you another job.
Yeah,
you need more duties.
Thanks, Teddy. No, but that's where I always felt like knowledge is very important, and it's never going to hurt you. So the more knowledge and more information you have, the better you can be. And we go from there. But this is my first stepping stone. We're going to baby steps. All right. Teddy, not the whole community.
All right. I won't put too much on your plate. I'll let Malika do that. But I also do want to acknowledge that we've known each other for many years because of you do work above and beyond your official duties. You do work helping young women in recovery with the Megan House Foundation. And I see the way some of these young women respond from you to you and look up to you. And it's I think this is a natural role for you, because if you've got the same demeanor with everyone else as you do with those young women who are facing certain challenges, it's going to be a great success.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I love the work I'm able to do. I love that I'm able to make a difference, get out there and talk to people. I would say this is kind of, I like to be behind the scenes and just do what I have to do.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
You're on camera now. You've got a title and a press release.
But that's just not who I am. I like to just go out and help and do what I need to do to get things done, to help people make a better place, a better situation for them. That's all.
All right. Well, thank you for the work you do, Lieutenant Dawn Beauchesne, and thank you for joining us here in the Well Point Studios.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. We'll talk soon, I'm sure. And thank all of you for joining us here as well. Hopefully you've learned something, and hopefully if you feel you do need someone to talk to, a safe space, safe place, you now know how to go about doing it. Thanks so much for joining us here at Inside Lowell. As we like to say, Inside Lowell. If Lowell is your home, this is your place. Till next time, stay safe.